And thank you for staying with us. One of the major challenges in Nigeria, as you all know, is the issue of electricity. And we have been talking about power supply forever. And when privatization was concluded in 2013, some of us thought, finally, we're going to get power. But it's 7 years on, and we still seem to be on the same spot. Or are we? Last week, the House of Representatives inaugurated an ad hoc committee on power sector reforms. What is that going to achieve? We're going to be looking at that and other things, other issues, and maybe also discussing ideas regarding how we can begin to solve our power issues. And we have two gentlemen with us in the studio to help us out with this. It's my pleasure to welcome the spokesperson of the electricity distribution companies, Mr. Sunday Oduton.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigerians. It's a pleasure to be here again.
And we have the President, Consumer Rights Advancement Organization, Chief Adeolu Ogunbanjo.
Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Good to be here. Good morning, Nigerians.
Yes, sir. Let us talk to the spokesperson first. In my introduction, I said privatization came along in 2013, and we all thought, good, we're now on the home stretch to getting, well, if not 24 hours supply of power, maybe we'll just make do with 17, 18. And even that we're not getting, sir. What seems to be this intractable problem with electricity in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. Let me start by apologizing to Nigerians for all these problems.
He has fallen our hands.
Yes, I always apologize. I'm an Egba man. They teach us to apologize anytime to our wives, to our customers, to everybody. It's good. Humility is number one. That is best for human beings. However, we can only solve any problem if we know the cause of that problem. If your tap is leaking in your house, water is leaking from the tap or from the pipe, you have to trace which of the pipes where, instead of looking at your rug or your carpet that is it's soaking with water, it's soaked with water. So what I'm saying is that the problem of electricity has a lot to do with, number one, the issue of sufficiency, availability, and you have to link availability with population to know whether or not what you have available is enough for the population, for the populace. In the case of Nigeria, we are about 103 million people in the country. Sorry, 100 and over 100 million Nigerians, current population. Now, even that, we are not even sure how many of us are in the country. But let's say we are 100 million. Now, what do we have?
More like 200.
Sorry, 203 I was going to say. So let's say we are 200 million Nigerians. Now, what do we have in terms of availability of electricity? We are roving between an average of 3,500 to 4,000 megawatts of electricity. More of 3,500 megawatts. That number is completely insufficient for 200 million people. Now let's take the 200 million people again and look at how many people are connected to the grid. There are between 20 to 32 million households that are currently connected to the national grid.
Is that all?
So, yes, when you look at so many villages, there's no light. But even for those number of customers or people or premises that are connected, you will see that the problem that we have is that, number one, what we have is not enough. Number two, the major problem, which is affecting the whole sector, is liquidity crisis, naira and kobo. And people also need to understand that there's a value chain in this sector. starting with the generation companies, the producers, going to the transmission companies, the transporters, going to the distribution company that I represent, the distributors. Distributors distribute products that are brought to that distributor for distribution. Then the gas suppliers. We talk about gas suppliers because out of about 28 power plants that are working in Nigeria currently, 25 of them depends on gas. Only 3 are hydro, Kanji, Shiroro, and Jeba in Niger State. All others use gas. Unfortunately, we have not been able to even tap into solar and all of those things. But where I'm going is this. In our book as distribution company, when we took over, what we met in the book in terms of number of customers of NEPA and PACN, and what we have been able to drag into the basket for now is about 10.4 million customers. Those are the ones that we know. But we know for a fact that there are more than 20 million customers. So there are at least, okay, let me break it down. Out of those 10.4 million customers, more than 20% of them are inactive. When I say inactive, no sign that they pay anything. So we have less than 8 million customers paying for electricity in the country. Out of those 8 million customers, only 4 million of them are metered. Out of the 4 million that are metered, 50% of them, their meters are obsolete, so which means you lose another 2 million. But the unmetered customer is my concentration now. If people are not metered, they cannot measure what they use. There will be a lot of arguments and problems. Now, those 4 million or minimum of 4 million unmetered customers, those people are rightly very angry and unhappy. And they, too, in some cases, are even paying for part of those unknown 12 million that have disappeared within the network all over the country. So what we have is a major crisis that we now need to look at what the way forward should be. For instance, when I say in Nigeria, 203 million people have less than 8 million active customers. If you look at Ghana, for instance, as an example, 30 million people, but they have 4.8 million active customers. 4.8 million for 30 million. In Nigeria, less than 8 million for 200 million people. So you can see that our problem is massive.
You're implying that over 190 million people are not paying for whatever light they're able to see?
No, what I'm saying in essence is that when you talk about 200 million Nigerians, not all the 200 million people have access to electricity. When you now take those who have access to electricity, I'm saying that more than 12 million of them
are not even
known. They are not paying. They are not known. They are either stealing, tapping, and how do you get them known, or how do you bring them over? A lot of things has to be done.
Okay, let us bring in the consumer person. He has said a lot because he went on and on. Now, what are your thoughts about what he has said?
Thank you very
Is that
much.
of any concern to you?
As long as...
You have your power.
Precisely. DICSCO, the moment I have power, that is what the consumer wants. He wants power. However, I'm sure you do have, how many households do you have that is on your record that are actually paying? You said some of them do not pay. Now, I also know that the transformers, even if you don't have prepaid meters, I know that the transformers are also metered. Now, the issue of crazy billing, of course, I mean, you all know this. What about just looking at those meter transformers and just looking at the reading and then sharing it with the people around, rather than just give anything that comes to the energy sales reps' heads? I mean, it's just not right. Again, people want to pay for meter. You are bringing all sorts of conditions. Go and bring a survey. Go and bring C of O because I want to, have meter installed in my place. Beyond that is the fact that they will now say, I have to go to a particular person who I have to wait, even after paying, who I have to wait for, for him to come before I can be given a meter. Are you not the one, in charge? So why are you now, making me go through this stress? The meter
through
provider,
through the vendor.
precisely.
Okay.
Mr. Dutton, in other words, all he's saying is the consumers are not happy with the DICSCOs.
Yes.
They want metered. You said you're not metered, that's why you're not getting power. If you're metered, you'll get power. Now they want meter, but they are not getting the meter.
And those who have meter are not getting the power.
And besides, somebody, for instance, paid 40,000 naira because the person couldn't queue, in the bank and all that, all these social distancing and things. So he went to pay through
The agent.
Through POS into Ikeja Electric's account. Unfortunately, they said they cannot capture it. Why? Is it not the same? And they say it's in their account. And yet she has paid 40,000 naira.
Okay, any money paid electronically into the account of any DICSCO shall be and definitely will be traced and captured at some point. So, but let me talk about meters. This is very important. Number one, the former Minister for Power, one day on his own, unilaterally declared to Nigerians, and the records are there, that metering is not the primary business of the DICSCOs. Following that declaration, the federal government, through the Federal Minister of Power and the regulator, our regulator, took metering away from us. They handed over metering to people appointed by them. They are called meter asset providers. These are private investors, local meter manufacturers, some businessmen who can import meters into the country. Our role is for them, they will send them to us. They appointed them. The regulator will send the list to each of the DICSCOs that Neuta is your new map provider. Work with him, work under him. What is our role? Our role is to open up our own ICT background, our computer system, which is our billing platform, to those businessmen, so that when they bring their meter, the meter can speak to the platform, right? We support it. We are happy with that. We are not saying don't take it from us, but we are saying make sure it is well done. But we only found out later that these same people that they appointed are having the same problem that we had when we were handling it. What is the problem? The same government that says, DICSCO don't do meter anymore. We are appointing these people. The same people that you have appointed, they are trying to bring in meters.
That government appointed?
Yes, appointed by NAC, by the regulator, which is an agency of the government, under the purview of the federal government and Federal Minister for Power. The same people, you have now gone ahead. Federal government has imposed a 35% import duty on meters. So they cannot even bring in the meters. For the local meter manufacturers, there are few of them, they need to buy some components. They must import certain components from abroad. That is because until Ajaokuta becomes a reality, Nigeria will continue to import certain things. For those importations, like on a three-phase meter, for instance, they need to put certain chips, maybe about 7 or 9 of them, that they have to import. They pay 15% on each of those 9. When you even aggregate it, it's even cheaper to import than to manufacture locally. So that means we are not even growing local manufacturers. These are not DICSCOs, though. It's not our business, though. But what we are saying is that if different people are the one in charge of meters, that are bringing meters, that are installing meters in our network, and you do not encourage them to bring it in, why blaming us for lack of meters, for shortage of meters? And our own study has revealed that wherever we meter people, Nigerians prefer prepaid meters. They talk about prepaid meter in Nigeria a lot, even though meters can either be postpaid or prepaid. But let's talk about prepaid. That's what the Nigerians want, largely. When the meters are not available, federal government should make importation of meters duty-free. Not even about waiver, duty-free. That's number one. Number two, we should encourage those local meter manufacturers so that we have massive meters. For there to be some sanity in this sector, every Nigerian house must be metered. And Nigerians need to know. I'm surprised even educated people still think that we are the useless one, because we are the scapegoat anyway, that these codes are not metering. They don't want to meter us. If I meter you, I have revenue assurance from your premises, because I'll be sure that you'll be paying. When you talk about energy management, those who don't have meters don't manage their energy. Those who are on estimated billing, you see some shops, you see light on in the afternoon. If because they don't have meters, those who have meters, they manage their consumption a lot. So it is in our interest for people to be metered. And the current problem, I just read yesterday that I think the Minister of State for Power is also saying that the federal government is now trying to review the issue of duty, import duty on meter or meter components. I hope that can be done and done soon so that people can be metered. When people are metered, then we were talking about the issue of availability of electricity. Because that's another matter. You can have meter in your house. If there's no light, your meter is as useless as if you have no meter. So we must talk about both. And the only way this thing can work is for everybody to know that there's a cost to the production of electricity. This is not about DICSCOs. This is about everybody. Producers, transporters, and distributors.
Chief.
If people don't pay the actual cost of electricity, we will come here in 5 years' time and be talking about
you know, we'll
the
talk
same.
about this actual cost. We'll come back to it. Let's see.
I see you looking very pensive there.
Yes. We have meter manufacturers in Nigeria. About 5, 6, 7 of them. I don't want to mention names here. And they've always assured us that they have meters, in fact, in their warehouse as we speak. So why are you saying, sorry, they have to wait? The meter set provider, can they go to purchase this thing at, those meter manufacturers? Many of them. One is in Lagos, one is on the expressway, all that. So what is delaying you telling the meter set providers to go and purchase meters with this meter manufacturer? And up till 2 weeks ago, 2 of them said they have as much as several thousands waiting to be cleared, to be bought 2 weeks ago.
So are you saying that you've been having conversations with them?
Yes. And they have meters.
But they will say it's not their job.
Have you had conversations with the federal government? Because he just said there now that, hold on. He just said there now that task of providing meter for the end user has been taken away from the DICSCOs. So how much conversations has the organization had with the government as regards metering people? So that
maybe you should be talking to NEC.
Perhaps we now have to redirect from the DICSCO to NEC now, because I mean, the meter manufacturers are saying, we do have meters. It's staring at them on the face in their stores. And then the map people are not buying from them.
Well, it may interest you to know that the meter manufacturers are also part of the map people. Correct. I can confirm that for a fact. There's no meter manufacturer in Nigeria who is not map licensed, unless that manufacturer is not really a manufacturer. But the 2 major ones are very, very, they have their presence in all the DICSCOs in the country.
I know them, yes.
But when you speak to them, they will tell you about their constraint, the cost. I just mentioned the components. If they have been asked to pay 15% on each of the 7 to 9 components for a single box of meter, just 1 meter, you see that the landing cost plus the amount fixed cap by NEC for meters, it's fixed, the price is fixed. The landing cost has to be compared with the price. If the thing doesn't pay them, they won't like to continue to import or bring in meters or
Mr.
those
Adunto,
components.
you represent the DICSCOs.
Yes.
The DICSCOs can only distribute what they are given.
Yes.
By the generating companies.
That's correct. Through the transmission company. Through the transmission company.
God.
The generation company can generate. If the transmission, which is owned 100% by the federal government, if they cannot wield the power, it won't get anywhere.
It won't get to you.
It won't get to us.
Be able to distribute to us.
Yes, please. Yes.
It's a bit long-winded, isn't it? But my issue is, why are we still talking about 3,000 megawatts of power for a country of 200 million people.
Okay.
That's the same spot we were when privatization was effected 7 years ago. We haven't moved forward an inch.
We're talking about
But
that.
maybe the corollary to that is perhaps maybe that because, you know, we are generating 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000, maybe that's why the kilowatt per minute, or how do you charge, is so high, and then it will lead to crazy billing of
Okay, we are where we are because any
What do you
country
charge?
that failed to plan has effectively planned to fail. The issue of electricity doesn't happen like that. It's not like an overnight thing. You cannot correct the adversity of 65 years in 6 years. What happened is that we should have grown this industry steadily over time. I'll give you an example. In 1982, the government of President Shagari, the late President Shagari, started the hydro project in Mambila.
Hold your thoughts there. We'll
That
take it up.
one.
We'll take it up from Mambila hydropower project when we return from this short break. Do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. We're still talking how to solve this power problem in homes. So, Duton, you were talking about Mambila power project in the 80s. Right now, what the viewers, what Nigerians want to see is power in their homes. As far as they are concerned,
Shikena?
the power sector was privatized, and they were told that now the DICSCOs have come in, you will have power 247 possibly, or at least 17 hours, you said.
17, 18.
But that's nowhere.
The
You're still
government-
talking about hydro, Mambila power project.
I'm saying that
We have power
a
1
project-
hour in 3 days.
I'm saying that the federal government of Nigeria started a Mambila hydropower project in 1982. Up to this morning, after spending millions and millions of dollars, they have not laid the foundation. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So if you have a project that was only resuscitated by the current government a few years ago, and government upon government have been projecting money for power and nothing is done, and I've mentioned it before that between 1989 and 1999, when Nigeria had 4 leaders, starting with General Babangida, Chief Ernest Shonekon, General Sani Abacha, and General Abdulsalam Abubakar, the 4 of them, in that 10-year period, budgeted money for power every year in the Nigerian budget, which is a public document. They never constructed a single power plant in 10 years. Are you saying that Nigerian population did not grow between 1989 and 1999? Of course, Nigerian population grew, so we need to grow power with population. So those neglect, those failure, and in the whole of the country today, you go to Niger State, you see 3 power plants. They are all hydro, water, right? Go up north, not a single power plant. So the national grid, so you produce power in Egbe, here in Ikorodu, for example. That is what you send to Maiduguri, to Benin Kebbi, to Parakot, to Abeokuta, Ilorin, and all that. So the problem we have is that we really need to massively increase generation, but you cannot just be increasing generation if you do not expand transmission and distribution. The language used is alignment.
Why are we still doing centralized distribution?
That's a question for the federal government of Nigeria.
Okay, Mr. Oduto, are
They
there
can
any
explain
plants
that
in the
better.
offing right now?
I believe there are plans, yes. Recently, the federal government even tried to bring in an equipment manufacturer called Siemens. Siemens cannot run DICSCOs or transmission, but they do manufacture good equipment. But as they do all of that, if you read the agreement or the MOU signed, it did not include meters and some other things. But even those things that they want to do, as long as those things are done, there are going to be a massive improvement.
Mr. Oduto, please slow down.
Yes.
Slow down. We need to concentrate on the things that affect the people out there directly. I asked you a question. Are there any plants in the offing? You said yes. Fine. Do you have timelines as to when these plants are going to be ready so that we will know when to expect better power supply?
Well, the question you are asking a distributor, I think that question the person who can do it, if you're asking in a classroom whether anybody can guarantee that the student will not make noise, the best person to answer that would be the class monitor.
Give us an
That's
idea.
the federal government.
Okay, look, how many power plants are there?
28 power plants. 28
In the
power
offing?
plants. In the offing.
No, the new ones that are coming on.
Well, I know that Mambila is there, but I don't know how many years that would take to complete. But Ethiopia managed to complete such within 3 years, can be completed within 5 years. That's one.
Okay.
I also know that there are stranded power. There are some power plants that are not performing optimally. If you go to Olorunshogo, Papalanto in Ogun State, there's a power plant there. The turbine they have never been able to produce to maximum because of lack of gas. Even Egbin power plant is the biggest in West Africa. They have never, ever used all their, I think, 6 turbines, never. So what we need to do is to get them to do that, while simultaneously we align the value chain to ensure that if you're able to generate 10,000 megawatts, you must be able to transmit 10,000 megawatts. You must be able to distribute 10,000 megawatts. That's what we in ANET have been saying all along, so but nobody appears to be listening.
DICSCOs now.
Yes.
What's the capacity of the DICSCOs? Let's just say, because when I asked you, I said
the
that's what the
capacity
federal
of the
government to
DICSCO,
answer. So DICSCOs, what's the capacity?
The capacity of the DICSCO, according to the federal government, which is the system operator, since 2015, when they carried out a stress test, the capacity of the DICSCO is 6,288 megawatts. But recently, the Siemens report made it very clear in that report, in part 2 of that report, that DICSCOs are capable of distributing 11,000 megawatts of electricity.
So the DICSCOs now
can
distribute 11,000 megawatts of
potentially, and I'm using potential because that's their own. They did. They went trans.
See, Mr. Duto,
I know of 6,288.
Mr. Duto, hold on. When I said why is there no improved power, he said that's for the federal government to answer. Federal government is looking at generation and transmission, right?
No.
In fact,
federal government is looking at generation, transmission, and distribution. And when you talk about federal government, always remember, and this Nigerians need to know, the DICSCOs that I represent that you are talking about, the DICSCOs are owned 40% by the federal government. We run the DICSCOs together. The federal government has their own director on the board. Every decision that every DICSCO takes in this country has the federal government input in it, because the person doesn't sleep during board meeting. We are all there together. So when you are talking about the private investors who pay $1.4 billion to acquire these assets, you should also remember that they acquired 60%. The federal government owned 40%. We are more than happy. It is an interest to work together because I'm a customer of a DICSCO too. If I have no light, and you are my neighbor, I won't have light. So both of us we are in it together. What I'm saying is that for the system to work, there's a need for there to be a technical and commercial alignment of the value chain. If you are doing 10, it has to be 10, 10, 10. You know what we have now? We have 7, 5, 6. That's not aligned.
7th generation.
And when I talk about generation, before the generation company start talking about this, I think we need to make something clear. There's a difference between install capacity, which is your ability. Installation, they install your machine, they say, on this machine, you can do this. There's also difference between actual, when you put all your raw materials together, in this case, maybe gas, what can go through the system?
So install capacity is 7.
It's in excess of 12,000 megawatts.
Installed capacity?
Yes.
But actual capacity?
Actual, that when they start the machine, they can run, provided that they have gas, which is an issue.
It's 7.
Why is gas?
Why is gas? Thank you.
The gas. Thank you very much. You all know about this case that happened recently. I won't go into that detail. That one, the one that took the government to court in England. Part of what they were meant to do, the issue of gas. You know, we fly a lot of gas. A country like this should not have problem producing gas. But remember, the gas suppliers.
No, we produce gas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We don't have any problem.
We don't produce enough. We don't have enough. And we sell a lot of gas outside.
Because we're selling too much.
We are selling. So the question that should be asked is, why are they selling out? Why not selling to us? They are selling out because they make more money selling out. When they sell to the domestic market, they sell to people who are debtors. Why are they debtors? They are debtors because they are sending electricity into neighborhood and people who are not paying. If they don't pay, they cannot pay those who have to pay the gas suppliers. This will collect money, right? now pay transmission and generation companies. Generation companies are only able to get less than half of what they are entitled to get. Same thing with transmission. Same thing with distribution. So it's a vicious cycle. We need to look at it in a dispassionate way without any sentiment. The truth of the matter is that how much does it cost to produce a unit of electricity? If a distributor of any product is buying it at 80 naira and you are forcing the same distributor to sell at 30 naira, there is a gap of 50 naira. So we have three options in this country. Option number one, let people know the actual cost of electricity and pay for it.
Okay.
Strengthen the judiciary. Yes.
From 30-something to 80-something.
It's not from 30-something to 80-something. That 30-something is an anomaly, it's ridiculous, it's unrealistic, and it's not normal.
That is what you are
saying. So I'm saying that if the actual cost is 80 naira, I said we have three options. Let me explain this. Option number one, let people pay the actual cost. But there will be,
which is 80-something.
of the landing costs that will make the book right for everybody.
That was 80.
That will provide availability.
That's 80 naira per
year. Even
just like petrol now. If it is 80 naira, if the landing cost is 80 naira, then one option is let people pay 80 naira. But you still have to deal with the issue of a person on 18 naira, 18,000 naira minimum wage, would be between 10 and 12,000 naira for 24-hour electricity. So that's one option.
He won't get 24 hours anyway, so let's not even talk
saying,
about that.
Oh,
She's talking about
we can get to that.
In an ideal situation. Okay.
It will get to ideal when the figures are right. When we are still deceiving ourselves, running around in debt, it can never get to that. So I'm now saying that option one, let us do the actual cost.
Okay, option two.
Option two. So option one is let them pay total. Option two is for government to step in and say, buy for 80, sell for 30, which is what they are doing now. They say sell for 30. The only thing they are not doing now is that they keep quiet on the 50 naira, in between 30 naira and 80 naira.
Yep.
Who bears that?
You better say something on our own. Oja Lanta. We are not the owner of electricity. DICSCOs. We are distributors. Yamlika who buy bread and sell bread is not the owner of bakery. So you bear that in mind and let's be sincere on this. Now, option two. If you now say, buy at 30, buy at 80, sell at 30, I will provide 50. So people, Nigerians, will not feel the effect. So you have cushioned it. That's what the government is doing with petrol.
Okay.
Because when people talk about petrol, are we paying the landing cost? We are not. That's one. That's option two.
Option three.
Option three is a mixture of both. That, okay, you are buying at 80. We make law, we see that you should sell at 30. We'll find a way to bridge part of the gap, but we now need to increase the tariff, not from 30 to 80 for people, but we'll come in between, help our people, so that they will not be paying too much, while we are not going to leave more shortfall. What we have had since November 1, 2013, when we came on board, and I'm happy I was part of that process. What we have had since then is that the shortfall has remained and continue to pile up. And those shortfall remain in the book of the people down the value chain, which is the DICSCOs, generation, transmission, distribution. That toxic book means that they cannot approach any financial institution for loan to bring in more investment. Whereas to get what Chief wants, we need to deploy technology. If we deploy more technology into our system, you can catch more thieves, and we hopefully pray that the government will need to strengthen the judiciary because it affects them. But every time we arrest, get the police to arrest a thief who is engaged in energy theft, the case can be in court for the next 2 years because a judge is encumbered with a lot of problems. So we need to look at how to solve the problem.
You've given a very lengthy submission of the entire situation.
Yes.
The books are not right, the figures are not right, the people are crying, government is crying, the DICSCOs are crying. That's the summary of everything you said. The people are also crying that the DICSCOs, people buy transformers and DICSCOs claim it's their own. They've been buying transformers for as long as I can remember. But the DICSCOs claim that they own the transformers, not the people that bought it. How is that so? But hold on. Chief, you've heard him.
Yes.
why are the consumers not paying for the light, the little lights they are getting? Why are they not paying? Why are they stealing energy?
Thank you very much, Nata. One, the consumer is not encouraged by the DISCO to pay, in the sense that, for instance, I've asked Chief, how much does 1 kilometer per hour or kilowatts per naira, how much does it cost? Then they will
let him answer. How much?
The normal cost should be nothing less than, is between 60 and 98 naira per kilowatt hour. But what people are paying is between 24 and 31 naira per kilowatt hour.
No, that's not what
and that's
I'm
why
paying.
we're talking about shortfall.
That's not what I'm paying. I'm paying about 50 something. Yes, go ahead.
Now, they will now, the DISCO will now come, read the whatever that is transformer. I'm talking about people who, get estimated billing. They will now, the energy sales rep of the DISCO will now go there, write down the numbers, and now just unilaterally, according to what some of the consumers are saying, they will double it and now start giving crazy bill. Imagine somebody who got 9,000 this month, another 9,000 the following month, the next month 18,000. As at May bill has been distributed, he got 40,000 naira. So,
and it's not a carryover from there.
No, it isn't. That is the current charges. So the DISCOs, because it's a it's a monopoly, all they do is they just read the meter. Okay, this is how much we want to generate from this transformer. From the meter, we want to generate.
What about those I've told you about who bypass their meters in Ogba, near where you live? Tell us something about that.
But you are the ones to ensure that you bring equipments to ensure that you catch them. I'm not going to do that for you. So do a whistleblower thing, encourage people to report to you.
We've done that.
So, Mr. Kumar, but the fact that the consumers are upset with the DISCOs means that they should go and steal?
I have not said that. I'm saying that they are not encouraging us by giving us the actual consumption that we consume.
And claiming what is not their own.
Why
is that people buy transformers and then the DISCO says their own? That's Oluwaseun is talking about.
It is still about the same thing I mentioned earlier on. Unfortunately, they say Ayeko, truth is bitter. I just mentioned to you the vicious cycle that we have. You have 20 million people using something. You only know about 8. Out of 8, only 4 are paying. So 4 people cannot be paying for 20 people. Now, when you have a business that is perpetually in negative, what it means is that you will not be efficient. So the truth of the matter is that these codes are not efficient. Efficiency will bring in a lot of things, including being able to replace transformers quickly, replace poles, and we do a lot of that. So when the people buy
the transformers, are you looking at
now the issue of ownership?
Yes.
The issue of ownership that you're talking about is just a mere legal issue, which is that if I have to energize a transformer, the danger with this thing is enormous. If you, because in your neighborhood you contributed money to buy that transformer, you say, now my own, and now you get the place, have the key. If anything should happen to anybody in that community, they'll still come back to me, because I'm the one that energizes it, that supply and put things on it. The moment you bring it in, I have to be able to have control over it. It is still yours. It is for your community. Whether the DISCO buy it for you or you buy it for yourself, what you are using is still your asset in front of your house somewhere in your community. So that's the reason for that.
Okay.
But
well, we have lots and lots of tweets, but I'm sorry we cannot read all of them. You know, when it comes to the issue of power, it's something that every Nigerian is interested in. And even if we had 3 hours to discuss power, we'll still be here after 3 hours. Unfortunately, we just have to close the conversation here for today. For today, Chief. For today. So I just want to thank you for coming, Chief Deolu Ogunbanjo, President, Consumer Rights Advancement Organization, and Mr. Sunday Odunton, Spokesperson, Electricity Distribution Companies.
Thank you very much.
Otherwise known as DISCOs.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, there are the GENCOs behind them. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We shall continue this conversation at a later date.
Fine.
Sunrise will return with another interesting conversation. Sorry we can't continue about power, but we'll bring another interesting conversation to you in just a moment. Do stay